Welcome to NewStalgia, the show between shows where we, the hosts of NewStalgia, I'm Drew,
I'm Amanda.
And I'm Basil.
talk about the media that we've been watching, listening to, or reading in the past couple weeks. I'll go first, and I have nothing.
Oh no!
Yeah, for once I have nothing.
Not possible.
No, really, I haven't been watching anything. I've been too busy with stuff.
Yeah.
You know what? Fucking real. Like, I appreciate that because that was me at the beginning of this I was like, oh God, I've not watched anything but goddamn
Yeah.
Blue's Clues.
I was like feeling very Amanda-ish right now.
Yeah, it's fine. If you don't have anything, it's okay. Amanda, would you like to go or?
Hang on.
What?
Ooh, it's also spooky season.
God damn it.
This is separate from that. You don't have to
No, I have to.
continue.
I'm not going to talk about anything spooky.
So my child went from 3 to almost 4. So the things that I have been mandated to watch have kind of gone up a level. Wow. She's picked some hot ones, y'all. Wow, I hope we have time. So first one she picked was Thelma the Unicorn. It's on Netflix. I think it's a Netflix original. It's amazing. It's about a little fucking pony, like one of those little short leg ponies. What do they call them?
Ponies. Sorry.
Anyways, she's just this little fucking pony and she's brown and she's got this like wild hair, right? She's got this like, some of it's, kinky curly, some of it sticking straight out. It's amazing. It's very, very representative for someone like my daughter who does have super tight curls and then some shit sticking straight out. This unicorn, you guys, she is a part of a band called the Rusty Buckets, and they are not getting the recognition that they need, or that they want, rather. They end up involved with a guy called Vic Diamond, who is played by Jermaine Clement.
Oh, that guy.
I love me some Jermaine Clement. He sparkles in this role. He's a villain, as he usually is somehow in animated movies. And he sort of separates Thelma from her band and is like, I can make you a star, baby. And he does. The part of the movie that I have neglected to mention is that at some point early on, she does get some pink paint and some silver glitter dumped on her. And so she looks like a unicorn. I forget how, but there's like a carrot stuck to her head. And once she has this visage, she automatically becomes beloved by the public. And this was a really great movie about just like, you don't have to have the look, you just have to have the sound. One of Thelma's producers is a blind lady, and she is a former prestigious musician. She wants to help Thelma develop her career. Obviously, she can't see her, she can only hear her. This is a very great movie. It ends pretty much the way that you would expect it to. So I'm going to move on to the second movie that was chosen by my nearly 4-year-old daughter. And when she said she wanted to watch this movie, I was like, oh God, she's not going to like this. I'm not going to like this. She stopped on the Netflix preview for Ultraman Rising. Came out in 2024. We watched the Netflix preview for this on accident. And the Netflix preview for this is the big, giant pink bird dragon monster. And Ultraman, the human being, is playing baseball with her. And it's very, very cute. And Amari was like, ooh, I want to watch this. So I was like, sure, what the fuck, whatever. Put it on. Oh my God. Very, very good movie. I don't know anything about Ultraman. We actually tried to go down an Ultraman rabbit hole after this, and it was all very boring. It was all super, super dull. Ultraman Rising was great. especially for me, because it's one of those movies, sort of like Little Shop of Horrors, where we have a man who has kind of had a baby, and he's kind of a single mom. And there is a sequence in this movie, because the new Ultraman for the ages, for our times right now, is a young baseball player. And he was playing baseball in America, and he's trying to play baseball in Japan now. And he's supposedly like the shit. And he comes across the egg of I guess it's a kaiju. I don't know what they call it. I can't remember what they call it in the Ultraman franchise, but he comes across a baby monster that he's supposed to be fighting and defeating. And this baby monster is gigantic and super endearing. However, she is vomiting and shitting all over the place. She needs to be fed constantly. She's unhappy about things that this guy can't control. And he's doing all of this while he is trying to be a professional baseball player. And I'll tell you what happens, okay? This is very, very representative of the single mom scene. He is showing up to baseball games and he is sucking shit. And everyone's looking at him like, why do you suck so fucking much? He's waking up to alarms. He's waking up to vomiting. He's fucking crying in his hands. Like he is down on his... Old man is down on his knees in this movie. And I also was down on my knees watching this shit because I was like, I feel seen. I feel seen, finally. Like, this monster is shitting all over him. This monster might as well have been throwing its shoes down the stairs. This monster might as well have been fucking telling people, oh, Ultraman hit me. And then, like, people are like, Ultraman, what the fuck's wrong with you? This movie was sickeningly in tune with the single mother experience. As a matter of fact, Ultraman kind of has like a dating relationship with another single mom, and he is vibing with her, and she's like, how are you so in tune with my shit? And he can't tell her because he's supposed to be fighting these monsters, right? Not, cradling them. Wow. Is my time up? I feel like I've been talking for a long time, but I have a third one.
Go ahead.
Continue.
Okay, third one. This is a very recent theatrical release, I think. I do want to talk about Trolls 3. Yeah. It's called Band Together. Trolls Band Together. I had seen the first Trolls movie when Amari was baby, like too young to really appreciate it. I loved it. She wanted to watch Trolls Band Together. Again, it was another thing where like Netflix was like, hey, let me show you the preview for this movie. And she's like, that, I want to see that. And I was like, girl, same. Because let me tell you, the Netflix thumbnail, for lack of a better term, is a close-up of the face of one of the villains. And she's very, very visually interesting. And then the preview kind of shows you more of this type of villain. And it's not a villain that has appeared in any of the other Trolls movies. You have this sort of hose animation, like Betty Boop type throwback design for the villain. And the villains' names are Velvet and Veneer. And I'm sorry, they steal the show. Wow, everybody steals the show in this movie. This was great. We find out that Branch, who is a character that I literally could do an entire podcast about. I love depressed characters in children's media. And he is a very, very, very good depressed character in children's media, and he's treated very well. Well, we find out that Branch, back in the day, was part of a boy band with all of his brothers that we did not know about before. And let me just tell you, this Frankenstein boy band is comprised of Eric Andre, Kid Cudi, Troye Sivan, and Daveed Diggs.
Wow.
And also Justin Timberlake. It's so amazing. The music is beautiful. If I have been singing boy band music, as I know that I have in our past few D&D games, it's because of this movie. Like, I have got NSYNC stuck in my head. I have got Backstreet Boys stuck in my head. I have got fucking Bee Gees stuck in my head. Like, they left no boy band unturned.
Wait, are Bee Gees considered a boy band?
I mean, I don't know.
They're disco.
I feel like they're not, but maybe. I don't know. I guess that could be argued.
I wasn't there when the Bee Gees were popular. Any hoodle. Then we get to the villains. So the first Trolls movie, the whole theme of the movie is pretty much trolls are a substance which you can abuse in order to achieve joy. Like, trolls are drugs. Like, you eat troll, you get happy. The second one was like systemic racism. Like, it was very, very, very political, and I loved it. It was about racism, just cut and dry. Third Trolls movie was Trolls Are Drugs, because the villains are using this brother as a means to make themselves sing better. And God, when it opens on these villains singing together, they move exactly how you want them to. They look exactly how you want them to. They are just amazing villains. I have nothing else to say about this movie. It's great. I could talk ad nauseum about the Trolls franchise, and I will spare everyone that. So yeah.
Cool.
Your mention of boy band made me remember I did see something. Deadpool and Wolverine.
Okay.
Anyone who's seen the movie knows how those are connected. And yeah, it's a good movie. It's an awesome movie. And I'm not just saying that as a fan of the Marvel Universe.
I have not seen it.
As a fan of Ryan Reynolds, I would watch it.
Yeah, he was great in it. The ads for it made it seem like Ryan was asking Hugh to come back one last time. It was actually Hugh. He approached Ryan and said he wanted to come back as Wolverine and do a movie with Deadpool.
And Daddy Ryan was like, beg for it, bitch.
Two of them are like really good friends in real life. It's great. It's great to see. I love it.
For real?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
The hot ones they did together is very funny.
Yeah. This one should not be spoiled, even though I was spoiled of the movie because TikTok and other social sites. I'm not going to do that to anyone else who hasn't seen it yet. But yes, great movie. Awesome movie.
No. Don't, because then I'll accidentally do it to Billy.
There are a lot of cameos. I will say that. And I will say the best MCU movie, at least this year, was not that rough competition, but yeah.
Very cool.
I also remembered I saw, in between our last recording, Dead Boy Detectives.
I see that plugged on Tumblr constantly. Is it good?
Yeah. I've kind of wanted to watch it. I just haven't.
It's good. It's pretty good. It's not like ultra amazing, but it's pretty good. It's in the same universe as Sandman. And in that vein, technically in the same universe as the DC heroes.
For real?
Yeah.
And theoretically, Lucifer from that show, Lucifer.
For real?
For real.
Yes and no. Lucifer is a very big character in Sandman for a little bit. And then he has his own comics. And then the Lucifer show was quote unquote based around the comics. But I watched like a few episodes and was like, this is nothing like the comics. So
I watched like 3 episodes of it and I was like, I can't anymore. Like,
it's just like a buddy cop show.
So, Dead Boys Detectives is, as the title might suggest, about 2 boys who are ghosts and they run a detective agency trying to help other ghosts and humans. They help ghosts help their human friends at certain times and also help them, get over the thing that's keeping them on Earth.
Which is sometimes the humans, I take it.
Right, yeah. They meet a human girl and things. I am not one for spoilers, giving at least. I don't really care about spoilers getting too much. So I don't really want to say too much about the show. They are, as usual, one is Brain and one is Brawn.
How can you be a ghost and be Brawn?
Well, this universe's ghost rules are not your average. They can touch quite a few things. But it's kind of surprising that either of them would be Brawn because they're both kind of thin boys too.
Yeah, it looks like they're both very cute, very, very, very cute boys from what I've seen on Tumblr.
So this was short, as per usual from me, but that's it. Basil, you're up.
Okay. I've read a lot of books. I am 6 books ahead of my yearly goal. So, I read Joyful Recollections of Trauma by Paul Scheer. Paul Scheer is an actor, mostly comedy, maybe exclusively comedy. And he has a podcast called How Did This Get Made? And sometimes on there, he'll share things about his childhood where people are like, oh, but that's sad. And he'll be like, no, it's normal. And people will be like, girl, that's not normal. So that's part of what it is. But he is a comedian. So while there is some, like he had some hard things in his life growing up, it is counterbalanced with some levity. And it doesn't just have that too. The title's slightly misleading, I would consider, because a lot of other stuff happens way later in his life, and it's not necessarily bad stuff. And there's an incredibly sweet chapter about how him and his wife, June Diane Raphael, got together. It was so adorable, and I love it. So yeah, that's what that one was about. It was pretty good. Then I read 6 of Crows. I also read Crooked Kingdom, which is the second book in that series. 6 of Crows, if you've ever seen the show Shadow and Bone, it is from the same universe, and the 6 of Crow characters are in it. They were my favorite characters in Shadow and Bone, so worked out great for me to read it.
I've never seen it, but my dad watches it. My dad's brought it up.
Yeah, he might actually really enjoy 6 of Crows. So 6 of Crows is kind of like a heist. The characters are technically teenagers, but they're like the kind of teenagers that don't act like teenagers, So it was a lot easier to get through for me. And the 6 of Crows is just a big heist movie kind of thing. Or it's a book, but you know what I mean? Like a big heist movie. And what I really like is the characters are all pretty complicated and really fleshed out very well, in terms of why they are the way they are. And yeah, I really loved it. I think it's fantastic. And the second one, Crooked Kingdom, I can't exactly talk about without spoiling 6 of Crows, but it was also good. It was just a little less heisty. Then I read 2 books by T. Kingfisher. One was called The Hollow Places, and one was called A House with Good Bones. They were both okay for the most part. I think I'm realizing that reading horror books doesn't scare me at all, like any horror books so far. So there is that. I think The Hollow Places was better, and it definitely had more of the kind of unnerving stuff, I would say. And House with Good Bones was okay. I think the premise kind of fell a little flat. So Hollow Places is about a woman who is recently divorced, and she's living above her uncle's curio shop where she used to spend her summers sometimes, I believe. And he kind of gets a little bit sick, and she finds this essentially almost like a portal kind of thing in the shop where it's like you go in and it goes further than the shop kind of thing. Kind of a bigger on the inside thing again, because I've read a few bigger on the inside things. And then she finds it's these things that are, if you've ever read The Magician's Nephew from the Narnia books, it's a little bit like that, where there are different islands with different doors, theoretically going to different worlds.
Like portals?
Yeah, but they're literally doors. Like it's a door you would walk through. And yeah, in this one, the world in which you go into between worlds actually turns out to be kind of spooky, and there's weird shit going on in there. And you can pretty easily get lost is the other problem, and maybe have a hard time getting back to your own world. So that one was pretty good for the most part. Like I said, I do think with both of these books, they were okay. I've liked things from T. Kingfisher better. A House with Good Bones was pretty interesting. It was about a woman who goes to visit her mom, who she hasn't seen in a while, partly because her brother was like, Mom's been acting kind of weird. And then she gets to the house and her mom is acting really fucking weird. Like she's scared of something in the house, but won't talk about it, refuses to talk about it.
Whoa.
Yeah, it has some interesting things about family dynamics and trauma and stuff like that. But I don't know, it gets kind of weird near the end. And I was like, eh. about it. Yeah, I was kind of disappointed, honestly, because like I said, I've liked things of hers like way better. Please Ignore Vera Dietz was the next one. It's not my favorite. I didn't really care for it. I'm realizing being in teenagers' heads is like not my favorite thing anymore. Unless, of course, they act like adults and then I just pretend that they're adults and forget that they're teenagers. But this was like a teenager, and yeah, it was okay, I guess.
Oh, God.
Yeah, this was like really, really a teenager, and I was like, no, I don't want to be in there anymore. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Would you say that that was a testament to the writing, though?
Kind of in a way, yes. But I deeply disliked it. And there could have been something that made up for it in the book. You know what I mean? Like, made up for those feelings of like really hating being in this character's head. There just wasn't anything else to like make up for it. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
Then I read an incredible book called The Spear Cuts Through Water. It is a very hard book to explain because it has like different timelines of things going on, like multiple ones, and it will do these asides about people within the story. In fact, they will sometimes have their own voice. It uses first, second, and third POV for writing. Second is almost never used.
No, I'm done.
In writing, by the way.
No.
Don't worry, though, it is like honestly very good. I was a little like, I don't know if I'll like this, but it does seem interesting. It is an incredible book. It like talks about how you are shaped by your family and how it is also kind of a fantasy story though, but like how you are shaped by your family and like can you break these kind of habits or like things that you've learned that are maybe not so helpful to you or kind or whatever. And just like a lot of stuff about family. It talks about love and fighting the good fight sometimes. And it's hard to explain it because basically most of the story is about these two people who are essentially transporting a god across a land where there's a lot of people that don't want them to do this. And that is what a lot of it is about. But there is other things going on. Yeah, it's also LGBTQIA+, so there's that.
I'm sorry. Say the name of it one more time.
The Spear Cuts Through Water.
Okay, I'm interested.
And it, like there's stuff about tradition and like oral storytelling and like on top of that like family legend and then mythology legend and like folktale. Like it is a good book. I think there are people who will have a hard time getting through it, but it is a fascinating book. It is written like so beautifully. I literally dog-eared a bunch of pages when I really liked the writing. And it's like simile and metaphor were like so well done. I loved this book. Loved it. I normally don't rate my books. I just sort of keep track of the books I've read on sites where you do rate books. And I actually rated this because I was like, oh, fuck, I really loved this book. This is a fantastic book.
People need to know.
Yeah, that this is a 5-star book. And then I read, after that, If We Were Villains, which is kind of like, people put it in the dark academia category, which I can see why. It's about these, I think, like 7 kids who are in this like very prestigious Shakespeare college where they are studying Shakespeare and acting. Like they're all actors, and it's like a really cutthroat program, and that's why there's only 7 of them left at this point because they're all seniors. And something happens, and one of them has gone to jail for 10 years. That is not a spoiler. You find that out in like the first like chapter.
Damn. Okay.
And so it kind of switches back and forth because it's sort of told as he is telling the person who was originally the police officer who arrested him, who is no longer a police officer, and he sort of makes a deal with him like, as long as nobody that I talk about in this story has basically faces any consequences, because I've done the time, I've done the 10 years, I will tell you what really happened. Because the guy who was the officer, who was the detective on the case, has multiple times said, I don't believe you, Oliver. Like, what really happened? Please tell me what really happened. And he refused. But now he's telling the story. But he's also telling the story to us. So I actually quite liked it. It was a pretty good book. Not as good as Spear Cuts Through Water, but but good. I've read 2 good books in a row now, so I've been pretty pleased with that because I had a few that I were like, for a while. Yeah, so that's it for books that I have read recently. Television, I watched Kevin Can Fuck Himself. A lot of places it is Kevin Can F Himself. It is actually on Netflix now, so anyone can watch it. And it is sort of a show that's a bit critical of like that kind of sitcom trope of the idiot husband who's kind of lazy, and then their like kind of straight-laced wife who's quote unquote a nag, but like their husband's also being really fucking annoying and like is irresponsible and childish and whatever. So it does make several references to the show Kevin Can Wait. It's called Kevin Can Fuck Himself, right? But it is also like, if you think like Everybody Loves Raymond or King of Queens or, you know, shows along that vein. And it is really cool because one of the filming techniques they do is they will show Kevin's point of view of things is shot exactly like those kind of sitcoms with that bright light, that single camera. And then you also get to see the reality when you're more like in Allison, his wife's point of view. And the lighting is all different. It is no longer single camera. You get like way more close-ups and stuff. It's very good. I do think that it stumbles a bit at the end. Like I didn't love the ending because there are 2 seasons. Because I've heard people don't like the ending of the first season, but it's also like, but it continues. Based on people's complaints that I've seen, it's like, oh, you didn't watch the second season. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, I did like it quite a bit. I do think it kind of stumbles a little at the very end in terms of like, I don't know, it seemed a little like maybe they weren't 100% sure how to wrap it up, you know?
For sure.
I'd wanted to watch that show for a while, so I was really glad that it's on Netflix now. And then, I don't know if I have to mention this, but mention it in our regular podcast, that I saw Hadestown, and it's really fucking incredible. And if you're at all interested in it, the whole Broadway cast recording is available on Spotify. And because they do sung through, you can get the entire plot from just listening to it on Spotify. Like, obviously you don't get to see the actors, but yeah, it's a great show. I really love it. I also watched Six as well, which also is pretty good. Not your traditional musical. It was almost like a concert musical, if that makes sense, but still very good. But yeah, Hadestown has shot to the top of my favorite musical now.
You did say Hadestown earlier tonight.
Yes.
And all I heard was Hades. And I was like, oh, the video game?
No, because that is a punishing video game and I will not play it.
Oh, God, I love it. Love it.
Yeah, that's about it for me.
All right. So I think that's it for...
No.
No?
Hang on.
What?
Ooh,
God damn it.
Spooky ending, yeah. I think that's it for NewStalgia. So until next time.
Thanks for joining us.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.